All right, are you guys aware of today's topic? What are we going to talk about today?
Today we are talking about conflict management.
I already sent in the chat box and everything. If you guys have a look at it, you know what we are going to talk about. So conflict management. Wait a second, I'm gonna share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, yes. I can.
Okay. Okay, conflict management. So before we start, I would like to hear from you guys as well. When you see the word conflict and management together, what do you think or what do you expect from this topic? What do you think we are going to talk about? Anyone?
Interest.
Interest, yes.
Yes, or benefit.
All right, interest, benefits. What else?
I think how to avoid conflict with the management.
Okay, how to avoid conflict or how to deal with conflicts. Any ideas? Any other ideas?
I think that how to deal with conflict with the most logical way.
Exactly. Thank you. Anyone else want to try conflict management? No? I will assume that that's a no. All right, so conflict management is about interest, the matters of interest, the matters of not being happy with something. And when it comes to conflict management, what we are trying to cover today is basically just introduce you guys about what is conflict, why conflicts happen, and how to deal with it, like calmly deal with it, and also effectively deal with it, because as we all know, conflict, it happens everywhere, either at school, home, at your workplace. Especially there's a lot of conflicts that are happening like every single minutes, like you say something, other people say something, and then you can kind of have like some disagreement, which is also conflict. And it's we are going to cover all of that, not today, but we have two sessions next week as well. So the main question here is about what is conflict. And for you to understand, there are actually two kinds of conflicts: the external conflicts and internal conflicts. So external, I mean the conflict outside of yourself. Can be some people disagree with you on something, and you would disagree with them on something, and then you have that kind of external conflict. Can be at the workplace or at where you live, where you study, in your family. It is called external. Or internal conflicts, it can happen as well, especially when you have two ideas in your mind, and then it started to fight each other, and try to find like which idea should win, which idea is good, which idea is not. So about that, just for you to remember, again, there are two kinds of conflicts: the external and internal conflicts. And when we talk about conflicts, it is also important to know about the cause, the root cause of the conflict as well. As I can see, some of you guys, you are not really like most people, not just you guys, most people, what when it comes to conflict, what they see is just like the problems, the disagreement, the conflict itself. They do not really pay so much attention to the cause, which is really important, because once you want to deal with conflicts or any kind of disagreement, any kind of problems, it is important that you have to understand or to be aware of what the causes are. So in this case, can anyone tell me when you see this picture, what is the first word or phrase or sentence that comes to your mind? Like, how do you feel? Because this picture, it actually represents conflict. Anyone want to try?
I think I'm right in this statement.
I'm right. You are wrong. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Thank you, Mom. Anyone else from D, from E cohort? Come on, guys. Oh, F, you can say anything. Come on, there's no wrong or right. Just I just need your ideas, your opinion. No one else? Yes, most of us.
Yes, use like I don't think so.
I don't think so. What do you mean? I don't think so. Like I don't think so that you are wrong, that you are right, or what?
Yes, it's similar. Wrong, like when someone they mess up any idea and try any idea and try to explain the reason, but I reply back. I don't think so. Like or similar, you are wrong. I don't support your idea.
Okay.
No.
What you talked about? I did not catch up what you say. Is it because of my internet or your internet?
Which is the same internet. It's a little bit, yeah, internet wicked slow. It seems that we have an issue when the internet is, when we're all on Zoom for some reason, because otherwise it works. So I'm not entirely sure. Is everyone here in house as well? I'm wondering, with the exception of a few people. One sec, guys.
All right, I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hotspot for hotspot.
All right, perfect. Just now I thought that Savati has problem with his internet connection, but
You
I will
have
just,
problem, you can online. It's better than you.
We are on the same boat.
all right. Give me a second. I need to change the space because like there's a lot of you guys in the house. The internet is not working so well. Give me 2 minutes.
No. You
All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear me now?
I need to share my screen again. Wait a second.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Okay. I
Okay.
asked you the
Can you guys
questions.
see my screen?
Yeah, we can see the
You asked me
screen.
a question?
Oh,
Oh, it's just testing my earphone.
Oh, all right, cool, perfect. All right, so from where we left off, we talk about this picture. So basically, this picture is, as you can see, they have the sign of the word yes and no. So it represents best in terms of conflict, because for a conflict or for this agreement to happen, it has to be someone saying yes and someone saying no, and then they can have like a the same page. Then they started to have the disagreement, and that's where the problems and all happen. And the reasons that some people may say yes, some people may say no, is basically sometimes it also depends on the different cultures and assumptions. Because for example, if I grow not if I grow up in Cambodia, and Johnny grow up like from the different world, so sometimes the way we raised are not the same, or sometimes it's just like our cultures are not the same. So I say A is this, for example. I think like, okay, I think it's okay if you can just shut up when you disagree, or you don't have to say anything, because
Rani, you're cutting
other
in and
people.
out.
So we most of the time
You're cutting in and out. So it's, I don't know if they can hear you, which is a little bit painful. I think it's, like I said, is the reason, because we had the same issue yesterday when Sukna was doing the session, right? Where you guys couldn't hear. The guys, D, are you upstairs? Can you hear properly?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, sometimes here, sometimes not here.
Sometimes I cannot hear anything.
All right. So I wonder, maybe it would be better if, and sorry for the hustle, guys, but maybe it would be better if we all come in onto the Data U floor, and then we have on Zoom just the guys who are missing. So then you can participate to the session, and then Rani, you can do the session face to face, because otherwise it's going to be a little bit painful to do so.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's do that. And then, so you guys who are here in house, please, let's all meet at the Data U floor. Yeah, is that clear for everyone?
Someone say no, there's always something that happened in between that kind of interactions. And one of the reasons is because of culture. So sometimes when you grow up in a different world, in a different environment, and the other person they grow up in also completely different from yours, it's most likely that you will have, I think it's fine, I can just move it. No, that's fine. I can just move it there because I'm gonna sit here anyway. Just gonna make it easy for you.
Yeah, I don't think you need the clicker because you're sitting down, so it's fine.
That's fine. I'm sitting down anyway. So
Yeah, because yeah, hack it's okay. Thank you.
thank you so much. That's all right. Okay, thank you. All right. Now we go back to culture again. Well, the more we talk, the more you guys are clear about it. So in terms, when I mention about culture, the reason that I mentioned culture is can be the main reason or the main cause of conflict is that as I mentioned, sometimes we grow up in a really different environment. Even though sometimes we are in Cambodia, the same country, but still our environment is diverse, like very different from one another. So for example, to put it to make it easier for you guys to understand, let's say that we grow up in a Cambodian world, and other people here as well, they grow up in the Western world. So our culture can be really different. Our belief, our it can be like different in so many ways. And because of that, sometimes what I think is right is not right for people who comes from the different environment or different culture. For example, if I say it is all right if you just shut up and you don't have to say anything when you have conflicts with people who are older than you. But in the Western world, sometimes they think like, okay, they are older, so what? We also have our voice, we also have our opinion. So they are more comfortable going to the elderly and just say that, okay, this is not going to work. I feel that they should be better. They should not it's not mean that you are wrong, but this is how I feel personally. So usually they express their feelings. And for us Cambodian, now I can say that many people started to express their feelings. But in the past, usually when they have problems, when they are going through like a hard time or anything, they prefer to suppress their feelings and not talk about it at all. That's why sometimes when you feel like that person is not happy about something, and you go and ask them, "Are you okay? Is there anything wrong?" And it's like, "I'm fine." It's always like that, really. They just like, "I'm fine." So that's actually they try to avoid the conflict because they think that, okay, it's fine. I can just suppress my feeling. I don't have to talk to you for a week. And that's why most people, when they have conflicts or when they have disagreement, they ended up not talking to one another. There's a lot of cases that happen. Remember at school, in high school, I know most of you can relate to this. Sometimes your friend, like you are talking so fine today, and then tomorrow you guys stop talking, and people ask why, and like, I don't know what happened. So that's why I said that conflicts can happen because of culture and the environment that we grow up with. And again, to encourage you guys, it is really important. If you are not happy about something, just raise it up. I appreciate your feedbacks. We appreciate how you want like constructive feedbacks for us. And again, conflict start because of saying yes and no. It's similar to negotiation style, and soon you will learn about that as well. And another reason it can be because of lack of resources. So sometimes you do not have enough resources to support what you believe, to support what you say, and then you started to have like a that kind of conflicts because sometimes the information is there, but because you do not have the resources, you miss the information, and then you start to say things that are not true or false things, and then you started to like other people they have enough resources and they're like, okay, this is what I heard, and then you say, no, this is what I heard, and then because of that word no, and then you have to kind of like, oh, this person wants to do something with me. That's how we see conflicts. Or I sometimes I was at one point where people say something and I feel like, okay, that person is trying to take me down, but actually It is not. It is just like the disagreement, and we are just trying to find a common ground. We are not really like, okay, I want to take you down. I don't want you to be better than me. I want to be better than you. No, it's fine. So again, conflict is fine. It's cool as long as you know how to deal with it properly. Okay, people on Zoom, are you still with me? Yes. Someone in the house say yes. Okay. All right. So here are the main three reasons why, again, conflicts happen. So failure to fulfill one's need. It means that I need something and you cannot give that thing to me. And I start to believe that, okay, you don't care, or you are not friends. We are not friends anymore. That's why you cannot fulfill my need. For example, I will go back to the workplace. For example, your boss or your manager, he or she wants something from you. For example, wants you to finish project A by Friday this week. And when you finish project A before or by Friday, he or she is happy. Let's say that. But if not, for example, Friday comes and you did not finish your project, you are still having a lot of things to manage, to figure out, and then you will not fulfill your manager's need, and then he or she might have some kind of disagreement, like, okay, I assign you a project A, and you have to finish it on Friday. So what are the reasons why you cannot finish it, or what stop you from finishing the project? And then that create a conflict. It means that he or she you cannot give what he or she needs, and then you guys try to actually find the resolution, find the reason, find the course why is happening that way. That's one of the reason. And another reason is about lack of communication. So again and again, communication is, I can say, the most important part of my life. Basically, I strongly stand for communication. I believe in communication. No matter how big the issues, no matter how big the conflict or the problem is, as long as you communicate to one another and you try to understand one another, maybe it will not end well, but still you talk. So that's why, for example, if you are not happy about something and people ask you, you just be like, no, I don't want to talk about it. And because of that, no, you can create, I can say, long-term conflicts. And then you guys stop talking. So again, communication is the most important part to deal with any kind of problems, any kind of conflicts, and to find resolutions, or to find solutions to maintain or to better your relationship with the other person. And last but not least, it's also about the lack of openness. As I mentioned, most people, they are not open, especially to strangers. For example, sometimes it's just like, I just know you for a week, and then I just feel like, okay, I cannot open up to that person yet because I don't trust that person yet. So you guys are like fails to actually communicate to raise up that, okay, this is not gonna work. For example, I have a friend. She is nice. She is cool, but I have known her for a week, or just a week. So I don't feel like really comfortable to go up to her and tell her that this is not what I like. But then through times now that, for example, if someone, even though I know them for a week, and then they start saying things that I don't really feel comfortable with. For example, my friend, she said that I feel like you are boring, for example. And then I just like, no, I'm not comfortable with that. And then just go up to that person and just tell her, like, basically like, okay, I'm not happy with this. Can we do something about this? So you will not go and just say like, okay, I'm not happy with this. Can you change? No, but you go and ask, can we do something about this? So, and conflict stereotypes. This I have already asked you guys at the beginning of the session. How do you think, or how do you feel about conflicts? Do you know the word conflicts in Khmer? Anyone can translate it into Khmer? Chum luo. Yeah, chum luo ka chluo to teng kia. So how do you feel about that? Anyone? You are happy with conflict? Unhappy. I heard I'm happy. You friend? Okay. Conflict with your friend. You feel unhappy about conflict. What else? Come on, guys. Just how you feel personally about chum luo. Reuse friend. Reuse friend. Let's expand. That's good. Guys, any other ideas? How do you feel about conflict? Do you feel like it's a good thing, it's a bad thing, or you try to avoid it all the time? You don't want to have conflicts? How do you feel? Uncomfortable? Yes. Why? Why do you feel uncomfortable? You are, yeah, you are going against someone and you have argument, you are not happy, you are not comfortable to do it. Yes, that's how we see conflict in general. So any one of you guys, okay, I will just put it in a pool like this. Do you think that conflict is a bad thing? If you think that is a bad thing, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. People on Zoom, you can raise your hand as well. Keep your hand raising. Like, come on. Don't be shy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, we have 10 people in the house who think that conflict is a bad thing. But why?
Conflict is not a bad thing.
Yes, long let's say.
Not a bad thing.
Yes.
Sometimes you need conflict to improve. If you don't have conflict, you cannot improve. There are two ways for the conflict. Two
Okay,
sides.
Mr.
If you see.
All right. Yeah, I will go back to that. You can just write it down because I'm gonna ask people who think that conflict is good. But for now, I want to know, why do you think conflict is a bad thing? Start with Mr. Map. Why? What makes you feel like that?
I think conflict is very bad because if we have conflict, our communication it would be
Loudly, please.
deal with any problem that we face. So conflict now, the after time cannot deal easily with the person that is fight with.
So yeah, it means it breaks the communication. All right. Anyone else? Come on, guys. You have to support your idea. Why do you think it's a bad thing? Yes, both of us.
Conflict.
Yeah, you said it as well. I'm going back to you. Don't worry. Yeah.
I think conflict is the best thing because when we have a conflict, when we feel that not and not comfortable with ourselves and with other people, and because they sometimes they don't get benefit from other people, so it's not good.
Yeah.
And that thing is the best thing we can transform them to the vehicle. Sometimes if we don't have if we don't have if we don't have only idea or only program, we say the but then so we to learn that. And if we can try to find out what is our common and process, we cannot find our common.
So you say that it's good and also bad, like at the same time. So partly agree. All right, anyone else? I hear people from that area raise their hands. So come on, guys, one of you. No, before that, you know what? You want to say something? No? Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. So who else thinks that conflict is a good thing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What? Me too. 6, 7, 8, 9. Come on. 9, 10. I got 10 to you. All right. So why do you think it's a good thing? Vâng Thảo, you want to say something?
That's me.
It depends on the people who think it's a good thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you learn from different perspectives, different points of view. Yeah. All right. Thank you. I saw Mr. Resma. You want to say something?
You ask me. I always tell that the conflict have two options. Maybe we need to change something. One leader is they think that their opinion are good. So, but they do is the wrong way, and everybody know. But if we don't have conflict, maybe we cannot change. We just follow them. So somehow the conflict can help for changing for be better. It depends on the situation we use on it.
Yeah, thank you, Bong. So Mr. Resmay said conflict can be a good thing because if you do not have conflicts, you will not know whether or not you are doing the right thing or wrong. So when you have conflicts, there's another person come to you saying that, okay, I think this is not right, or this is not really wrong. And then they kind of communicate and try to find the best deal for both of them. That's what he said. All right. So, yep.
Sorry, can I add something here? So I just want. There is no right or wrong way. Yeah? So always remember that because it's very important. Sorry?
I know, right?
I really don't know. Okay. Now?
Yeah.
Is it working now? Do you want to mute yourself in there? So, but still not very clear. So fun, a little bit slow. Yeah, I really don't understand what the issue is, and yeah, we have to figure out. Guys, on Zoom, can you hear me better now? I'm gonna move around like this. It's not gonna do anything. Better? Yeah. Okay. So one thing that I want to say is that just to remember that it's not about right or wrong. Yeah. What's right for me might be wrong for you, and vice versa. So always remember that it's not about right or wrong. It's about finding a solution together. Especially if we're talking about a work environment, finding a solution that is viable and that allows everyone to move forward. Right. I might not agree with it 100%, but it's very important, especially when we do teamwork, that if, say, for example, it's 5 of us, 4 of us have one opinion, the other person is against them, that we work together, collaborate, and as soon as we make a decision, even if it's against us, we just back that and we move forward, right? So a lot of the times there have been many situations when I wasn't fully, you know, I had a completely different view on the problem, especially in work environments and especially in what was important and so on. But once we all as a team, like I listened to everyone, once we all as a team agreed, this is let's try this solution, I'm fully supporting that. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And then we come back and we try a different solution, right? But very, 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 very important. And always separate the person from the problem, right? We have this, do you know what I mean by that? What? Yes, always separate the person from the problem. What do I mean by that? Yeah, so say for example, so this is what we tend to do, and if you think back, like if you think back of yourselves as well, you would probably, when you do something that is not quite right or you make a mistake, who do you blame it on? What do you say? What do you usually say? So if you make a decision, you move on with a project, it doesn't quite work out, what do you say? Do you blame it on yourself straight away? But most times you would say, oh, it didn't work because of external circumstances, because of this, and this, and that, yeah? If someone does something to us, or we perceive it as someone did something to us, it's because that person is bad, they are mean, they did this because so-and-so, right? So it's very important to understand this. We tend to do this a lot. When we make a mistake, is always about other people, external situations, you know, like think about even like if you think economy, economic crisis, if you think about, you know, things like that in the world as well, right? We always attribute it to external factors, happen because of this, happen because of that. Whenever someone does something that we perceive as wrong, I say, oh, Mab is not a good person. He did this on purpose. He did this to make me angry. He did this to upset me, right? And always be mindful of that in a conflict, especially in a work environment. No one does things to you. They just behave that way for lots of different reasons. And sometimes you don't know what that reason is. So try to separate that and look at it from an objective point of view. Does that make sense? All right, cool.
Okay, I just got disconnected. Can you see my, okay, I all right, here. It's, I can say it's kind of funny to see this picture in general, because first of all, okay, how do you feel when you see this picture? Funny? Why funny?
No, it is true. You want to fight the other that how again guys.
Yes.
That's why you put that
yeah, you want to fight the other person who disagree with you. Yep.
No, it is you. Your behavior before you try that are you.
Okay, how about people in the house? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, basically, this is how when you say conflict is a bad thing, this is how you perceive it. This is how you see it. So when talking about conflict, we usually see we feel like people are fighting using violence, not just communicate, but especially in Cambodia. So if we say like you disagree with something, like you at your prom, លក្ខណៈថាយើងអត់យល់ព្រមជាមួយ something អាហ្នឹងវាធម្មតា but when you say the word conflict or ខ្មែរ we say ចំនួនឲ្យតែលើសូរពាក្យចំនួនមានអារម្មណ៍ថាអូប្រហែលគេវាយគ្នា people are fighting ឲ្យតែលើសូរពាក្យចំនួនព្រោះអី especially like between countries and countries ពេលខ្លះឲ្យតែលើសូរយើងពាក្យចំនួនហ្នឹងគេប្រើនៅក្នុង Cambodia context របស់យើងគឺប្រែថា people fighting ទាំងអស់ that's how our word translated. So that's why when we hear the word conflict, we tend to see to imagine people fighting against one another. Yes. Hmm? Yeah. Yeah, so you separate between the person and their action, right? And one of the reasons why I said this is it looks funny in the first place is that why the girl is the one who looks like she's going to fight a man. Because personally, when we say women, we tend to feel like she's aggressive, she's like mean, especially okay, this go back to the relationship. How people see women and men different in relationship is that women always tend to be really emotional about things, like even small things. They feel like, oh, she's so emotional, she was like really assertive, she's like so that's how people perceive, that's how people see usually. And here it's just like to me it shows that okay, she is emotional, she is not happy, and when she's not happy she's going to do something about it, maybe use violence maybe. But in general, this is how we see conflict, like when one person is not happy with the other, they just like tend to use forces, tends to use violence against one another. But that does not have to be the case of conflict, because again, conflict can be a good thing, not a good thing, can be good things as well. It's just like there's a lot of good aspects of conflict. And the what I want you to see conflict is that I want you to see it as the opportunity to grow, because without conflict, you will be the same person for the rest of your life. And with, for example, if you believe A is right, while other people do not believe so, and you do not try to do anything about it, try to involve with people who disagree with you, because some people they like to involve, or they like to associate, they like to hang out with people who agree with them, when they know that that person is not like on the same page with them. For example, if you guys like basketball, and then the other person does not like basketball, they like soccer, and then it's like, okay, I don't want to associate with you, I don't want to try soccer, I just love basketball, that's all. And then when that kind of mindset happens, you are not going to grow, especially in terms of ideas. If you believe idea A is right, and then you try to disconnect yourself from people who do not believe the same thing with you, and try not to hear them out, there's always a reason why they do or believe or do not believe in one particular thing. So if you do not hear them out, it's just like you keep yourself in the same well, like look just the frog in the well. And if you see conflict as a good thing, it is the opportunity for you to grow. That's why one of the principle I live by is that sometimes people, they actually want to grow, but they are afraid of changes. They're just like, I don't want change. My life is good without changes. I'm good with it. But they want to grow, like, oh, I want to be rich, I want to be successful, I want to be really powerful and stuff. But still, they do not take the step out of their well. So that's why the frog will be there for the rest of their life, thinking that they are the biggest one in the world. So again, conflict can be a good thing, and see it as the opportunity to grow as you grow. Okay, so we have discussed already about. Can you see it? You can move closer. It's okay. Okay. Guys, can you move? Yep. All right. So yeah, we have discussed about this as well. Just to summarize, some of you think the reason that you think conflict is not a good thing is that because it makes you uncomfortable, it makes you disagree with one another, it breaks your relationships, it breaks your friendship, and some of you say that it's good because you see it as the opportunity to grow. Okay, this picture, what do you feel? Playing off game of chess. Is there anything you see beyond just horses of the chase? Black and white, yes. Gambling, okay, gambling. We got. Okay, if you make one mistake, you will lose. All right. No, that does not have to be the case. You make one mistake, you lose for now, but maybe you win later. I hope so. Okay. So here in this picture, it's like you can see the contrast, the opposite, the black and white. This is how people tend to see the conflict or to see the problem. They feel like, for example, if I agree with something, you disagree with something, it means that we are fighting each other. We are fighting to say that, okay, I disagree, I agree. So me versus you. But what we are trying to make, the point that I'm trying to make is that it does not have to be that way. It's not how you should see the problem. It is not about you against another people. It's about two of you against the problem. If you want to deal with the problem, it is important, again, to separate the person from the problem. Do not go against each other. Just remember that it is the problem that you have to deal with. You don't have to deal with one another. You just need to deal with the problem. So if you can, once you can separate the person from the problem, you will get more time to actually think about the root causes of the problem, and you two try to work it out together. So it's the same like you want the best for one another and you want to solve the problem. You do not want to win. When you have conflicts, when you have disagreement, it does not mean that, okay, I have to win this disagreement because my idea is right. I have to win for sure. If I'm not winning, I'm not gonna fight. No, it does not have to be that. It has to be both of you against the problem. Does that make sense? People on Zoom, are you still with me?
Yes.
Yes, no. Come on, it's a yes, no question. Yes or no? No. Louder. Yeah, because one of you think like you are going against one another sometimes. Not really sometimes, but most of the time, people just feel like, okay, as I mentioned, when we have a disagreement, when somebody disagree with us, we just feel like that person wants to take me down. Like most of the time, that's how we feel, and it's the same. So when you guys disagree, it's about like you just feel like that person wants nothing good to do with me. So you see that person as the problem, not the problem as the problem, but that person as the problem. Anything you want to add? You like, come on, you have something to say? Think that say that okay, I deal with it, I don't think the problem. So even though the other part, the other partner who think that okay, let's deal with the problem together. It will not make it will not make a long term because they still have interest concept interest over their ideas. So, yeah, that's what they do. It's mostly kind of like that, even though one of them like not really but I mean even though one of them like let's do the job together, but the other one is different, so it is happy to have it like we deal with the problem rather than I deal with it.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what the result of that? It can create resentment, like cùng nôm son sập, like psychotium. Really. So the I can say the simple example is that, for example, we have something that we are discussing, and one of you raise up an idea, and you believe that okay, this is the best idea, this is the best solution for what we are discussing. And then when people are like, no, I don't think so, how about we think it this way? And then that suddenly create a conflict in between you guys, and you just feel like, why don't they agree with my idea? It's the best idea. And then sometimes people choose to avoid it and say like, fine, tell me what you get. And then when they say fine, tell me what you get, there's like their openness, and they started to want to listen what the other person has to say. But sometimes they just like, they're not happy, and they decided to shut up. It's just like, okay. And that okay create the resentment, like, no, why? And then there's always something in your chest that you did not let it out, and then for the rest of the day or the rest of the week, you will not talk to that person. You just feel like, okay, they do not agree with my idea, why should I talk to them? That really is how people see, like they fight against each other, not the problem. But when you fight together hand in hand against the problem, it's easier and it's more effective, and it's faster for you guys to deal with the problem, because you know what the problem is and you are trying to work together and deal with it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Anything you want to add?
I just want to say that it's like a lot of the times you might feel like the people who have to be independent and think about conflict with you, right? So as soon as you notice that, it's a good idea for you to raise it and say, hey, okay, let's start looking at this from a perspective that is like you and me to find together to resolve this problem. How do we collaborate on this? How do we together make it better? So then you are the one who proposes this idea of like, let's look at it from a perspective that's like collaborating on resolving the problem. So then that might open up a little bit the other person says, okay, I never thought about this, right? So you can try that. I don't think it's always going to work, and I think you will be in situations where people will won't listen to you or like want to even see things from that perspective, and that then you should be ready for that in terms of how you manage your response to that. Because we don't live in a perfect world, yeah. In an ideal world, like people get together and we dance under the fire, yeah.
Yeah.
We know that this is not the reality. So it's always good for you if you already realize that you're the one who has more wisdom, so to speak. Just make sure that you also understand when it's a good time to, okay, I can't really push this person more than what I've tried. How can we move past from here? Does it make sense?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Are you having internal conflict? No? We have what? Mhm. Yes, exactly. Even now, when like Yoni or I said, does that make sense? And you have conflict between saying yes or no. That's why you shut up, right? But you want to say yes, and you want to say no. You are not sure about yourself. So you have kind of you have internal conflict. We have internal conflicts all the time. Yeah, buying shoes is a good example. It's just like you have two things, but you cannot afford or you cannot get two things at the same time. So you have to decide and get only one. So you create that conflict in your mind already. Okay. Here, yes, definitely.
Talking so far, we have about conflict interest, right? I know that in work, that for example, there are two parties. One party got two people. So I know that I try to solve the problem, but another one tries to be over me. So how can we change their perspective, their mindset for so long time? How can we change it in short amount of time? And what is the best solution to deal with this kind of people?
The best solution. When I hear the word best solution, I'm scared.
Is everyone clear on the question that is asking?
For example, there are one party but two people, like you and me. I try to solve the problem, but it's just like, okay, exactly this time, we over this time. Like, we try to conflict with my opinion, and I was like, I try to solve the problem, but I try to win over you. And how can I respond to this bad response? For example, that you are working for so long and you are experienced in doing this kind of work, and it was like your mindset is that the idea is working for it, working, responding to the problem, and try to come up with any solution to the problem. But this tries to be overweight. So how can I really this kind of people and like they are just trying to be overweight. Just like walk away or try to talk to them. Like
walk away. Yeah. The right solution.
Anyone else?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Very important point. Allies. Workplace.
No.
When we work in one party, so we have one goal. So one goal we can discuss, and we discuss it with another one. Like, for example, if you have the thing, when you have different one, so we can create another person or two to train our country.
And sometimes you might be a mediator. Yeah, so might be that sentence. Are you familiar with this term? Mediator? No?
អ្នកសម្របសម្រួល
Sorry? What's the second one?
អ្នកសម្របសម្រួល
So you you know, like say for example, Edna and I are having a conversation.
We're having a conversation and we cannot find the solution, but also we are past the point where we can communicate well with one another, because I say one thing and you don't hear what I say, you say one thing, I don't hear what I say, right? So it's becoming to the point where we're seeing this as very personal. We make it about, it's about you, it's about me. So we cannot communicate anymore, right? So then Rani would come in and say, okay, you know, just listens to what I say, and then maybe would ask you, okay, what have you heard, right? So then you say back what you've heard and stuff like that. It might be something completely different than what I intend to say, right? So then Rani would say, oh, what Yoni means by that is this, this, and that. So then it helps you to understand from a different perspective. And because you like Rani, and you don't like me anymore because it's past that point where I've made you angry and upset and annoyed, you listen to her and you trust her, right? Because if you think about it, this goes back into, it's the trust element again, right? Even when we go into conflict, because I've been in situations where, you know, I'm coming from here, the other person is coming from here, but I do trust the person. And even if I don't agree with their opinion, I try to understand, okay, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. And I'm not going to change my opinion, but then I will be willing to say, okay, let's try this. Why not? Let's do it. Let's see what happens. Yeah. But when you lose trust in that person, when you also lose, I guess, respect. Yeah, I think that's bigger than everything else. Like respect is the bigger one, right? Because if I respect you, you respect me, even if we disagree, that there's a mutual respect. And I know that I can't talk to you like crap because I respect you. So because I respect you, I listen to your opinion. But when someone loses respect or they perceive you as lower than themselves, which I would assume is going to happen quite a lot, then that's where it gets past the point where they don't listen to you, right? So as Visal suggested, then, okay, this person listens to this other person. So let me go to this person and just say to them, hey, I'm having this issue, blah, blah, blah. Can you support me in here? Like, this is what's happening, right? So once it gets past that point where you can't really, you've tried everything, you can't find the solution, it's very important to have your allies around, yeah? And this goes back into why it's crucial, and Rani mentioned this at the beginning, like the communication is so important, but it's crucial to build good relationships with people, because they will come in particularly handy when you are in a conflict situation, right? Because what do we do with people that we like? What do we tend to do? So say, I really, really like you, and I'll pick Rani because she won't get upset. And say, I really dislike Rani, yeah? So say, and you know, like I respect her and we work together, but I really like you. And then a promotion comes up. Who do I put up for the promotion? Rani or you? The person that I really like, yeah? So it's the same. Who do I help most with my work? Who do I support most with my work? The person that I really like, and the person that I perceive as helpful to me as well, right? And I'll put my hand up and be the first one to say that, you know, for me, it's the same for me. If someone like gets, you know, looks at me and supports me in my work, I tend to be more attracted to that person, right? Because I feel, okay, they are making my life easier, because it becomes about that, right? So this is where you can position yourself a little bit in, okay, I'm like social skills. I go and talk to everyone. I don't care if people say hi to me first, I go and say hi to them first. And then I also make myself useful for everyone, right? Especially for people at the top, yeah? Because this is going to be a real, which pains me to say, but this is going to be a real issue that you guys are going to face in a work environment, yeah? Yeah, unfortunately.
It's like before I come here, I work in 2 organizations, and my managers, all of them are Cambodian.
It's really hard because first of all, I'm young. And second of all, I can say that they perceive me as having less experience than them. So usually when we come to discussion, when I say the word discussion, I mean discussion. They do not see it as discussion. They see it as me trying to change what they believe. They see it like I try to point out what they do not do well. They see it like that, really. It's really difficult. It's going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy for you guys to deal with it. I dealt with it, and I can personally say that I did not feel comfortable dealing with it. I have gone through a really hard time, but at the end of the day, I appreciate what I said and what I did. And do not expect, for example, if you want to change their perspective, if you want to change the way they think, do not expect that they are going to go on the same page as you. It might take times. Some people, it might take times to get close to them, to get them be open and just be honest to you about what they feel, about what they think. And to do that is not easy, especially in the world that feelings or emotions are not like widely expressed. Because as I mentioned, sometimes it's just like, especially in a workplace where people are older than you, and sometimes you have an opinion and you have a disagreement with them, and you just want to raise it up, but you decide to shut up because you feel like, okay, if I raise it up, I'm going to have the problem with that person. And with managers, especially, you are at risk of getting fired. That's how people feel. That's how I feel personally as well. When I go to my manager and say that, okay, I feel like we can do something about this. I raise up a problem, and he sees it as me trying to actually say that he's not good at what he's doing. And because of that, I'm getting risk of not being promoted, of getting fired. Even it's crucial. It's hard to understand. But again, do not expect that it's gonna work 100% your way. But there's a way. There's a way that you can do it. And yes, I really like the point when Visal mentioned that, okay, bring higher authority. But what if you are having an argument with your boss, with your director, with the one who pays you? It's gonna be hard. So how are you gonna do that? Bring his parents. Bring his parents. Yeah, you can say that, but how are you gonna get it? But still, even though you are having with your manager, like with the highest authority in your organization, there's still a way to deal with it. But again, if you want to deal with that kind of conflicts, my suggestion is that first try your best, and just remember that what you are doing, you are not trying to win against that person. You just want resolution. That's all you want. You just want to deal with that problem. You do not want to win, even though you understand and you know clearly, like crystal clear, that that person wants to win over you. Like most of the cases when we have conflicts, one person is always want to win. Sometimes I realize, or that person realizes, that he or she is wrong, but he or she will not admit it because he or she wants to win. So it's gonna be hard, but again, we can go through this together. And we also include this in our session as well. So maybe next week we will talk about how to resolve with that kind of conflicts, with that kind of can say high authorities, or like the rank of people, like okay, manager, and then this, and then that, and then that. And when you are like lower or younger, you just feel like, okay, I should just close my mouth. That's all I should do. Right? We will discuss more about that. No worries. And yeah, you don't have to bring the parents, Lisa. That's for sure. Okay, so I think we can bring to the court. Oh my God, are you serious? I think we can have a 10-minute break. What time is it? Okay, I think we could have a 10-minute break. So no, not 10 minutes, 7 is fine. So we will come back at 11. Are we cool? Yes. Yes. Oh my God. Uh, yeah, actually, like 5 main styles that we use to deal with conflicts. You may not be aware that they put it like into a categories of five styles that you can use, and it depends on each situation and the context. So what we will explain or what we will tell you is that it is not the fit, like the best fit for all the conflicts that you are going through. So our recommendation, a disclaimer, is that you guys use these styles in a right context. Do not just use it like randomly use it and it's not gonna be effective. So you got it, Mong? I see doubts in your eyes. Okay, again, different contexts, we have to use different styles. It's not just one style that fits everything. It's not gonna work that way. So if you want to deal with a specific conflict, make sure that you know what the context is, you know who you are dealing with, and you know what the problem is. And then you can choose the style that you want to use in that context. All right. Okay, first off, we have competing. You know competing? Anyone? I win, you lose. That's all. I put it into really easy words for you to understand. So the first style that people try to deal with conflicts is about competing. Or we can say this also goes with negotiation. Like when you talk, when you when you try to people on Zoom, can you hear me?
Yes.
Guys? Okay, perfect. Because I lost your images on my screen. That's why I asked. Okay, so about competing is that sometimes you have to understand as well. In some situations, when you have conflicts, you do not have to agree with them all the time. If you have a point, prove it and win it. For example, if you have an idea and your teammate in the work environment, your teammate has another idea. So you believe that your idea is right, and your teammate also believe that his ideas is right. But at the end of the day, you like you try to find a resolution. You try to hear each other out, but still, this one is right, and the other one is not so right. And then that's when you start to compete to make sure that okay, this idea, what you stand for, the majority of people who stands for this idea, it is right. You got what I mean? Or sometimes it's about let's say about writing proposal or writing projects or campaign, for example. And then you, for example, your boss or your manager said that okay, you guys have a week to propose me a project that we can do with our, for example, our brand awareness for people to know us and stuff. So when that happens, you are trying to compete with one another. Like the conflict is there. One person is working against the other. This one is not about against the problem anymore. Even though you are working against the problem, but still you are trying to find we can say arguments. Argument cái này mình này tha cả chút con tên nhé. Arguments here it means like the reasons behind why you stand for that ground, why you stand for that belief. Chắc argument mình ở tập cái arguments ở tập nên tha chút mình là hô thế. Arguments in terms of debates, right? Argument it means reasons. So here we mean reasons. So you try to make like two separate projects that you think will work best for what your managers want. That's when you you try to compete with one another. And here it's like you do not care about relationships or friendships. It's fine. You do not care that much about for example, if you know that person, like your business partner or not business partner, the opponent, or I can say like most of the time you want to win them. You do not want to lose them. So because you think that it's fine if you you break a relationship or friendships, and then you start to compete and get what you want. And mainly it means that you have a really highly interest in what you believe and you want to win. So you use the competing stuff. See here, it's about winning. Only one person win in competing style. Does that make sense? And there are other type of conflict management style as well. Okay, avoiding. As I mentioned to you guys, sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time, when you are young, when you have less experience, you tend to avoid it. One of the best example is that sometimes, for example, like we have conflict. We know that we have a problem, and you just don't want to talk about it. Every time, for example, I and Map, we have a problem. We have a problem, and then I want to go to Map and tell and try to deal with the problem. Here, Map. Yeah. And he does not want to deal with the problem. So every time I say like, okay, Mom, yesterday we have a conflict, so I think we have to talk about this and deal with it. And you're like, no, I'm busy. I have to make a phone call. I have to write an email. I'm busy doing this, doing that. So you are trying to avoid having the conversation. That's when the lack of communication come in. It means that you try at all costs not to communicate with that person about that problem. So you try to avoid it. And at the end of the day, both of you lose. No one wins, no one lose, but both of you lose because you did not deal with the problem. The problem is still there. And this happens when you do not care about your interest, you do not care about the other person's interest, and you simply do not care about your relationship or friendship. At workplace, I have sometimes faced this as well. Some of my teammates, they are not happy with me, and we have like some kind of argument in or disagreement in a meeting. And then I know that I want to deal with that problem, so I go to her and then said, okay, how about we talk about this? What happened yesterday? I was trying to communicate and try to understand her as well, but at the end of the day, she tried to avoid me, like not talking to me at all, and then just like, okay, I'm busy doing this, doing that. So they are trying to find excuses not to communicate about the problem. That's the avoiding style. So when can you use it? When sometimes it's just a small problems and you think like it's fine, you just avoid it. Because for example, I can say that the first time, for example, this is my straw, right? And my roommate uses my straw without telling me. And I said, okay, it is the first time, it's fine. And I don't have time to deal with just a straw. I have 3 straws. So I'm like, okay, it's fine. I avoid it. I'm like, oh, it's fine. So first, identify whether that conflict or that problems mean so much to take over all of your time to deal with other things, or it's just a small things that you can just talk about it later. Like, okay, I will talk about it later. I will go back to that later. It's also when you avoid, sometimes when you avoid conflict, remember to go back to it. Like if it's important conflict, because sometimes we human, we need time to process as well. So if you can just like, okay, how about we do this? I will take an hour and I will go for a walk, and then we can come back and talk about it. So you avoid it for the time. All right, next. Okay, this is like avoiding, like, yep. Hmm? One another, and then try to avoid each other by not talking to each other. And the other thing that you say, okay, you have some problem with your roommate, for example, but she let him know that it's causing problem with you because you need to figure out. This one kind of avoiding, but it's kind of like avoid because it happens. The second thing that is avoiding to have the concept that has before kind of small problem because you don't want to have talk with her. So which one is the avoiding side? The second one. Okay, I may confuse what I said. I may get you guys confused. So the first example that I said is that sometimes people just try to avoid, like they turn their back from the problem because they don't feel like talking, they don't feel like communicating. And the second one is about avoiding the problem. So in terms of conflict management style, when you try to avoid the conflict, it means just like it's too small to take your time to deal with it. Because as I mentioned, I said that it's the first time. So usually when it's the first time, I'm like, okay, I don't bother. But if there's a second time, the third time, like, okay, we have to deal with it because we are living in the same roof. So oh, you mean this one? I lose, you lose. It means that you guys do not communicate. So you did not deal with the problem. I also did not deal with the problem. And then the problem is still there.
Yeah, so this is kind of like, it's not solving, it's not solving any problem, so if it's not actually
It can be sometimes, especially in terms of like the straw example. But in the workplace, it's not a really conflict management style when you try to not talk about the problem. It's not the style, but it's the conflict style, not the conflict management style. Because sometimes people have conflict and they talk about it, they try to deal with it. Either they compete, they accommodate, or they just compromise. But other times, conflict happen and they decide to avoid from the conflict. But in terms of conflict management style, you can avoid it as long as the problem is not like a big deal, and you just feel like, okay, I can deal with it later, or it's fine.
I have witnessed like this because of that.
I unmute myself first.
So in my experience so far, depending, yeah, so there are some times where we avoid it. You just let it go, because if every small issue is important, then everything becomes important and it takes a lot of your time and energy, right? So like Rani said, you might avoid it once, you might avoid it 2 times and 3 times, but if that becomes a habit, then it builds a bigger conflict. Yeah, so it's important that if you let one thing go, another thing, for me is the rule of 3. This is what I follow. So I follow the rule of 3. Again, I'm not saying this is a blanket solution for whatever situation you're going to be in, but I follow the rule of 3. So if that person, I notice it once, I notice it twice, I notice it again 3 times, I know this is going to be a repeating problem. So then I don't avoid it past the 3rd time. So past the 3rd time, I take the person and I say to them, hey, this is what I've been noticing for the last 2 months and so on. Okay, let me tell you how I operate. And let me tell you, when you behave like this, to me, it comes across like this. And then the other person can, say, oh my God, no, that's not what I mean. Like, I want the same and stuff. So I explain it very clearly. Like I say to you guys all the time. Yeah. When I say to you, to me, not showing up on time is a sign of disrespect. Not paying attention to the class is a sign of disrespect. I'm not saying this is how it is from you. I'm just explaining from my point of view. Yeah. Like, this is how I see it. Right. And if some of you, most of you might be like, and I noticed like a few times people said, no, oh my God, it's not like that, right? So, but I'm just explaining to people how I see it. I'm not saying that it is like that, but what that does, it just helps open up the communication, right? And then what it does for me is I've said it and I'm not upset about it. I've raised it and I'm explaining to people, right? So this is the same, like if we avoid to deal with something, once it goes past the 3 times, again, like this is something that I followed, and this is something that I followed in all areas of my life, and it's something that works, because if something becomes repetitive, then it's a pattern that this is how that person is, which is fine. But in order, like Rani says as well, in order for us to deal with it, you have to address it, right? Because if you let it slide 3 times, yeah, it's fine. But then it keeps happening, then it's 10 times. And what happens to you in that time? What do you think? If you ignore something on a regular basis, what happens? Mm-hmm. And what do you do? And what do you do what do you do when it's enough? Exactly. So this is what we want to avoid. We want to avoid the explosion. Yeah. And I'm guilty, put my hand up, I've done it quite a few times. And that's when I came up with this for myself, with the free rule. I've done it many times when I say, oh, it's fine. Like, you know, I always try and understand the other person, and I go into it, okay, yeah, they behave this way because this and this and this and that. But why should I justify bad behavior of someone, right? And they need to understand why. But I've done it a few times when I went past the free, and then I just, yeah, so then I've learned my lesson not to do that. Let it slide 3 times. After that, hey, listen, this is what I've noticed. When you behave this way, it makes me feel this way, or I perceive this way. I don't like inefficiency, or I don't like wasting time, right? So I explain it to the other person. If this is how I get the information, can you please help me next time and you deliver the information this way to me? It would be really helpful, right? So it's not about them. It's not about what they've done wrong. It's all about me, yeah? And then it's all about me. I'm explaining to you how this comes across, and I'm explaining to you what would be helpful for all of us to cooperate and collaborate better. Yeah? All right.
Are we cool? I see you guys, so that's all right. We're going forward. Okay. Accommodating. Any ideas about this? I lose, you win. Accommodating, not accommodation. I sometimes it's just like accommodation. I want to say like accommodation. You know accommodation? Yeah, cái lấy xin no. Accommodating here what we mean by here. I lose, you win is that sometimes people value relationships and friendships. So because we value that relationship and friendships, we think that, okay, it's fine. Whatever you feels like the best for you, I agree with it. I'm totally good with it. Right? And because of that, people, most of the time, you feel like it's okay if you lose as long as the other person is happy. Especially with friends. We do not do that a lot with ourselves, but with friends. So sometimes you value your friendships and you have like a problem and you feel like, okay, it's fine. If that makes you happy, if you think that's the best for you, I'm totally fine with it. So you value relationships and friendships. So you choose to accommodate and agree with what works best for the other person. All right? Okay. A really good example here. So for example, they are partners, right? So most of the time, the man, I don't know why they put the man, but the man here, they will like agree to do everything as long as his woman is happy. So he just feel like he value his relationships, but it does not have to be all the time. If you are not happy about it, sometimes just raise it up, because as Yoni said, it's the 3-time things. If it happened once, twice, it's okay, but for the 3rd time, it's not going to be okay. But here, because he values the relationships that they have, he decided that, okay, fine, I can do the chores, I can do the cooking, I can do the cleaning, it's fine. Because you do not want to like have conflicts and then just break up because of this thing. And you think that, okay, it's fine, I can do that. But at one point, when you think that it is not fine, you cannot do that, you can actually compromise. So compromising here is about, I win a little bit, you win a little bit, I lose a little bit, you lose a little bit. It does not have to like one person is winning, one person is losing all the time. Sometimes you just have to find the middle way that you both are happy about it, and you feel like, okay, this works best for us. So the best sentence that I will put in compromising management styles is that you value your interest and also the other person's interest. You value your relationship with the other person, and the other person also value your, like, both of you value each other, both of you respect each other. So you try to find the solution, the middle way that you both can work on it, and just call it as dealt. Like, okay, this problem is solved. So you win a little bit, I win a little bit, you lose a little bit, I lose a little bit. So that's most of the time it happens when you guys are in a discussion and both ideas are good, and you try to actually like put both of them together and make the best one. All right. Here we lose a little bit and win a little bit. Okay, and last but not least, we have collaboration. I win, you win, we win together. We call it win-win solution. You know win-win solution? Yeah. So collaborating, especially in the work environment, it is important that you collaborate with your colleagues, because if you do not collaborate, if you try to compete with each other all the time, I do understand competing is what makes people grow like faster, but still you have to collaborate, especially in the work environment. For example, if you have a project that you have to work together, if you try to compete with one another, you will always have conflicts. You will always disagree with one another. Even though you know that idea is good, but still you will disagree with them no matter what. So it's important for you to understand that in work environment, collaboration is the most fundamental and the most important things that make a team strong together. So I win, you win, we both win. No one is losing. So that's why, again, try to communicate openly. Yes. Oh, how will it happen if we have conflicts? So for example, okay, let's do this. It's kind of, for example, you are working on a project and both of you want different things. For example, I myself, let's say we have $500 to spend on whatever activities we have to do. I want to spend on the activities for you guys to go out, for example, go out and have fun together, connect with one another. All right. But Yoni, for example, on the other hand, she wants something totally different. She's just like, okay, I don't want to go out. It's COVID time and everything. We should not go out. We should just stay in house and maybe buy some drinks. All right. And then, okay, $500, we can do only one thing. So I want to go out for the whole day and she wants to stay in house and order food. So we need to collaborate how we can spend that $500 and both of us are happy about it. So maybe I can just say like, okay, maybe I can go half a day and then I can only spend 250. And she said, like, okay, cool. I will just 250 to buy food. And we have like, we still have the whole day. So 1 in the morning, you guys go out, and in the afternoon, we come in house and we create networks once again. So we both are happy. Yes, it sounds like compromise, but the compromise is that you lose a little bit, I lose a little bit, you win a little bit, I win a little bit. But in this case, we both are win, because like we can do both activities at the same time. But if compromise, it means that you cannot do this, I cannot do this, but we can do this. Does that make sense? Yeah, just some. But collaboration is just about you guys do it all and win together.
Thank you. So the way we, for example, the way we work, like, you know, they see the board over there, right? Like that's the collaboration on everything, right? So again, like going back to what I said a little bit earlier, we decide on, okay, this is the project that we have, this is how we collaborate on it. Yeah. So it might mean that you don't get to do all the things you want, but you get to do some of the things that are where you're the best at, that particular thing, and you get to do that within the project, and someone else gets to collaborate with something else and something else and something else. Yeah. So it's almost like think about the collaboration almost where you use what you're good at, what you're really good at, and then the other person what they are really, really good at, right? And then we come together when we collaborate on this thing and we make it better. Does that make sense? Cool.
Yeah. So we are going to do with the group of 4. So maybe 4 here. No, that's quite. Wait.
I'm actually like the
Hmm?
so maybe
Come on, guys, go and stand with one side so we know who's left.
and then yeah. And then all right, guys. You guys on Zoom, I have already sent the scenario in the chat box, so you can discuss about that first one. So what? Okay, Dory is here. Does that make sense, guys? Bong Rets May, Bong Mùi Khiên. Yes, I already sent it into the chat box. So again, we will have to discuss about the situation and decide which conflict management style you should use in this scenario. All right.
Sorry, what is the topic in the chat box? It's all for us.
Yeah, Boris, Mike, can you repeat your question? What was your question?
Yeah, it's in the chat box. It is all for us here.
Yes, for people on Zoom. I think Dory he's in the house, so just you guys on Zoom so you can discuss about that situation.
Yes. So you bon with cheer, bon explain, and then